Okay, listen. Why is it that, you know, you can't seem to really attract anybody? And you've listened to these people online that say, have high standards, bro. Have high standards. Or, girl, you should have high standards. Like, you should expect more. You deserve more. Okay, look, I get it. Cool. But before, well, you don't have to do this before, but if you raise the standards of the kind of partner you're looking for, you better make sure you also are equating to that level, I guess. Equating to those standards in some metric. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you gotta be equal, you gotta be mano a mano, okay? I'm not saying you gotta be equal, like both know how to do the same things. The point of the relationship is like, okay, y'all both got roles that are different from each other, right? And in some relationships that might not be the case. Like it just depends, right? But y'all both got a role to play. And some standards are all both going to be held to the same degree, and then other things are going to be different. You're going to be held to a different standard. It's more like an equity thing. Like you're doing the same amount of work, putting the same amount of work as I am into the relationship, right? It all comes down to that. That's like the general thing. Like, are we both putting the same amount of energy into the relationship, right? That's what it comes down to. So all these people talking about like, oh, raise your standards, higher your standards, but like you're still out here being a bum. So I don't know why you've raised your standards, which is great. That's step one. Nice. Now you know the kind of partner or the kind of person or the kind of people you want to be around, whether that be friendships, whether that be family, whether that be romantic relationships, whatever it may be, right? But how about you ask yourself the question that comes after that, which is, how do I actually, you know, become the kind of person that would allow me to be with this kind of person, whether that be partner or friendship. And I've talked about this in like I think the best dating advice ever video is like, you gotta become the 10, right? Instead of looking for the 10. That way you give yourself more control. Now, how is this video a little bit different? It's like, well, you got to look at the standards. Okay? If you're going to raise the standards for the other side, make sure you're doing something that's equal or equitable to that, right? And in some sense, maybe it's like the same concept. I'm just talking about it in a different perspective or a different framework using different words. So that might help click for some other people, because some other people are probably watching the other video like, bro, he's trying to say some corny, inspirational, like profound shit here. Become the 10 instead of you know. So I just gotta use different perspectives and different frameworks. That's kind of what I'm doing. That's what I used to do on my podcast. It was called Well Wired for a reason, you know, because I understand that not everybody learns or understands things the same way. Everybody has different things that click for them. So maybe this clicks for you. It's like, look, this is the cold hard truth. That video was more like, okay, yeah, like look, like you gotta understand that like you should focus on becoming the 10, open up more options to you, you know. And some people understand that better, but some of y'all need the cold hard truth. Some of y'all need to understand that, look, you're raising the standards for the other people, but those people, right? Imagine that all the standards that you've set, right? Imagine that could become a person. There was a person that met all those standards. What is it in it for them to be with you? What are they getting out of that relationship? What are they getting out of this interaction? And if you can't put enough on the table that might seem like it's even close to equitable, now that's a very hard thing to know, right? How do I know if I'm providing enough value to their side for it to be equitable? Now, if you look at, some if you look at one relationship, that'll be enough. Whatever you provide will be enough. And if you look at other relationships, it's not going to be enough. Like with another person. So like person A might be enough, whatever you're providing. Person B might not be enough, right? So then your best bet is like, okay, how about you maximize the amount of value you can give so that you become an option to everyone? Oh, you weren't enough of an option. You weren't enough for like option B or option C, but you were enough for option D. It's like, why don't you raise your value up to the point where, look, you're now you're now good for every option, and it gives you more, you know, people to choose from. That's just kind of how that works. Why don't you, you know, if you've raised their standards, raise your own, and then after you beat those, go even higher. Extend your standards so much though, like you're always growing to such a capacity that you're becoming an option to everything. That way you could really find what's best for you. Just think about that. Why would you stop and get complacent at the one option that's been given to you? And that might sound kind of harsh, right? It's like, well, isn't that person like enough? It's like, no. Well, that sounded kind of, depressing. What I really mean is like, wouldn't it be in that person's best interest and in the interest of the other person, right? In the interest of the other person and in your best interest to go for the better option. That way they find what's best for them as well. And they might also come to the reality that they also have to up their value for them to be able to open themselves up to multiple options. So think about if everybody was doing that, right? I talked about the red pill earlier, and I don't know if it was this video or the one before that, but the red pill and how everybody talks about, sleeping with women, all that stuff. It's like, and then we're looking for good women. It's like, how is that going to happen? But think about if we all adopted values in where we grow, we raise the other person's standards, right? So we raise the standard that's held for friendships or romantic relationships, and then we ask ourselves how we can become the kind of person that would give the utmost value to those relationships, and then we focus on becoming that, right? And just think about if that was implemented like on a mass scale, how great that would be. Because then we'd have multiple people, we'd have so many people dating with intention, with values, with long lasting relationships, with maybe happy marriages, because now everybody's worked out, gotten into good shape, everybody's in good health, and I know it sounds very idealistic, but like just think about that. Everybody's in a very, very good state of mental health. And now it's just a matter of choosing between whose personality fits more with you, because everybody's already like reached the heightened state of their genetic peak when it comes to their attractiveness, their looks, their personality, everything. If everybody was able to maximize that and actually self-improve, that's what this is about, right? Think about how we just be, I guess, like my brain is freezing up just comprehending this concept. Like, and of course the dynamic might still apply of like the top 10% and all the women getting with top 10 or things like that. But like, I think we'd just be way better off. I really think we'd just be way better off. And it would, how do I say this? Like I said, it allows for us to be able to actually look for a partner who meets more of our interests and things such as that nature, because they've already improved everything else. Now, of course, it could always use improving, and the counter argument could be that I'm acting as if like they've reached the point of perfection when it comes to everything. Now you just gotta look for things you find interesting and things you relate to. But it's like, you know, I think the intention matters in just trying to level those things up to the degree that you can, right? Like all the way, and whether that be looks, personality, mental health, spirituality, all those, and then like you find someone who fits you, who really fits you. So, and I might have gotten a little bit sidetracked in this video, but that's fine. Like it gets the whole point across. But yeah, again, you can't set standards and then continue to be a bum. That's just not the way it works. Like you have to be able to somewhat equate to those standards, or like be equitable or equal to those standards. Equal for some standards, maybe like attractiveness or physique, right? I hit the gym. I also would like someone that also hits the gym. That'd be more like equal. Equitable would more be like, oh, she takes care of the kids and um I'm the breadwinner. I go work, things like that. So, yeah, it's just, and if you maximize all those things, you open up more options to you. So, it's only in your best interest. Think about it, right? So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all today. Peace. Take it easy.